Adelaide City, and she's my assistant, Madeline. Madeline, and I have this wonderful presentation for you today. Now, I was just told that the era to press. So, let me get a little bit accustomed to what I've got here. What you should be seeing now is a map. Yes. What is that map? Map of what? Collier County. We went through redistricting recently, and Collier County Commissioners and the Collier County School Board created new districts. As you all know, that's part of the requirement that we have. Redistricting occurs every 10 years after the census. And the population information that's gathered, of course, from census gathering is what is used by the governmental agencies to create their new districts. That's done to ensure equal representation. So when I came to office in 2000, and thank you very much, I've been here 22 years, I'm also new with us. So when I came to office in 2000, anybody here in 2000 election? See a few hands. That was interesting. That was my first election. So we made a lot of changes in our office between 2000 and 2002. 2002 was the first redistricting in which I participated. Before we did that, our office purchased our first geographical information system. We implemented a GIS system in the elections office, and we began the process of redistricting, building that mapping foundation in our office. We worked with the Board of County Commissioners. And so some of the more experienced people in my office suggested that I talk to the County Commission and the Collier County School Board and ask them if they would be willing to use the same districts, the same district boundaries. So I did, and they did. So since 2002 census, the County Commission and the County School Board had used the same district boundaries. Otherwise, you would have 5 districts for school board members and 5 districts for county commission. So we appreciate them doing that. So what this shows you is the breakout of the 5 county commission districts, 5 school board districts, and this is not based on population. This is based on voter population. So these numbers you see are the registered voters in those 5 districts. Their goal when they're redistricting is to make the population as equal as possible. So you see here there's some differences, but that's because this is voter population. Now, when I present this map at other groups, and I say, do you know what county commission district you live in? People dodge my eyes because they don't know, but I know. You know who your county commissioner is, you know who your school board member is, and you know where the elections are this year. So I wanted to share this with you and give you a little history. And an interesting thing too is, in this year's elections, we have 2 school board seats up, or 3 school board seats up. What are they? 135. What are the 2 county commission districts? 2 and 4. Is there a pattern here? Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in total are the districts that are up. And that's the way the Florida Constitution is written, so that they're different in each of the election cycles. Now, let's look at registered voters by party. What party has the highest number of registered voters in Collier? There you go. All right, look at those numbers. We also have minor parties in the state of Florida. So Somebody shout out a minor party. Green. Libertarian. Independent. Just a few. So we have some voters that are registered independent parties. You'll see a number. It says at the bottom, we actually capture our demographics the first day of every month, don't we, Madeline? Madeline brings me a new report every first day of every month, puts it on my desk. And that report says, and this is something I've been wanting to achieve for a long time, we have over 250,000 registered voters in Collier County. Now, when we are conducting an election, though, one of the things we are very interested in is turnout. And in order to have turnout, we have to know the total number of registered voters. And the Florida Division of Elections needs to know that too. So the Florida Division of Elections, which is a department under the Secretary of State, Secretary of State of Florida is the highest election official, they are mandated to determine total number of registered voters in the state of Florida by county. And so they communicate with us and they say on X day, on X hour, we're going to do book closing. So when they did, a few days ago, when they determined the total number of registered voters in Florida, their total number for Collier County is 265 voters less than our 250,000. So if you see that little bit of difference in numbers as we move forward through the election process, that's why it's there. So one of the things that happens on election night is we are mandated to release the results of early voting and vote by mail by 7:30 election night on our website and send it to the Florida Division of Elections. So in the old days, the candidates would come to our office and the campaigners and they'd wait for us to release results. Now y'all go out and have parties at restaurants. You're ready to celebrate. And you are watching our website, which is the right thing to do. So you'll see those results. And that's based on, of course, the results of early voting, voting by mail, and election day. We are mandated every 45 minutes after 7:30 election night, we're mandated to release the results from election day that have been sent to us from our polling locations on election day. So we will let you know when we've got all the results in, but that's something you can be watching when you're at your parties. Let's go to registered voters by race. There's no surprise that the highest number of registered voters in Collier County are white. And then we have Hispanic, Black, and other. The next slide will show you the registered voters by gender. What gender has the highest number of registered voters? How about that, ladies? Yeah, and we also, you'll see a little note there, we have 2,580 people that don't know what that is. That's actually not a required field in the voter registration form. So some people just skip over that. So we wanted the totals to add up though. So then, the voter statistics for Collier County, the profile shows us the majority of our voters are white Republican women, and I will tell you that the majority are also 66 and up. So ladies, let's keep going to the polls. Electing our candidates and the folks that serve us so well. I want to show you in the next chart
66.
turnout. Now you all have heard me whine a little bit about primary turnout. What election are we in now? Primary election. And look at the turnout over the years for a primary election. Is that pitiful? Yeah, it is. Now, I know everybody in this room is going to vote. How many of you already voted by mail? Several. Thank you. What starts tomorrow? Early voting, 11 locations across the county. How many are going to be a poll watcher? All right. Now you're working for the party. How many are going to be an election worker? Thank you. You're working for the elections office. So we're proud of all of you, whatever role you're in. Thank you very much for being engaged in this primary election. And our office always looks at the history and we come up with a recommendation for turnout. This is what we think turnout's going to be in this election cycle. Well, folks, we're kind of backing up on this one. A few weeks ago, we said we think we'll have 35% of our voters get out and vote this primary election. But the way it's looking now, and the slowness of the vote by mail ballots that are coming back to us, is not looking good. So we rely on you. Get out there and vote, and get your neighbors and your relatives to please get out and vote. Now the next one, this is the big dog, the general election. Look at the difference in turnout. People will vote in a general. Look at the presidential election years. See the difference in the percentage of turnout? I'm proud to tell you that in 2016, what do you see? What's the turnout percentage? 87%? How many counties are in the state of Florida? 67. Yay, 67. If I had a prize, I'd send it to you. 67 counties. What county had the highest turnout? Collier. That's right. That's one of the things we do in our election office on election night. We've got all the Florida Division of Election screen up on our computers, and we watch that to see if we beat Lee County. We're proud of what we do. We're always looking at other counties, and they do that with us too. You know, who got the results in first. When you also look at 2020, the last presidential election year, what was the turnout in Collier County? 90%. And we in our office, and all these poll workers that we have, thank you for commenting on that, Judy. We ask them to please be courteous, be polite, provide the best customer service we can. Anything we change in our office, we do it for you. We do it for the voters, not for us. We do it for you. We want it to be a wonderful experience. What we tell our workers is that people only vote every 2 years, hopefully, and they don't always remember what that's like. What's that feel like? What's that smell like? So we want it to be as convenient and comfortable and friendly as possible. And if that doesn't happen for you, you let me know, because that's what we expect. But that's why we tell the parties and candidates, y'all get out there and work hard. We'll get out there and work hard to register voters, but we expect the candidates and the campaigners and you all in this room help us get the people out to vote. So you're our ambassadors over the next few weeks. Help us get folks out to vote. This chart is just a reminder of what 2020 looked like. 90% turnout. Look how many people got out and voted. Over 209,000. And the different ways they voted. Generally, a third of our voter population will vote by mail, a third will vote on election day, and a third will vote early. Look at this chart. What happened in 2020? COVID. Look at the percentage. Almost half of our voters that voted in that election voted by mail. And we understand why. And that's why it's kind of a little, we're not sure what to expect this year. We've mailed about 76,000 ballots so far, but we haven't received very many back. We don't even have half of those back. And we don't know if that's because they're going to show up over the next few days at early voting locations, surrender their mail ballot and vote in person, or they're going to wait till election day. We don't know, but we're prepared. So that's a snapshot of what happened in 2020. Coming up, we've already mentioned some of the dates. The primary election day, of course, is August 23rd. We've closed the books, and that's what the state has used to determine the number of registered voters. The vote by mail request deadline is tomorrow. So if you want, excuse me, if you want a vote by mail ballot and you haven't requested it yet, you have until tomorrow at 5 o'clock. We began mailing ballots on August the 10th, and that's the number we received back almost, or that number we mailed was almost 76,000. And as of the 10th, these are numbers that Madeline, the freshest numbers we have is, that's the number that we received back so far, is 26,000. General election, of course, we won't worry about that right now because we know what's happening. So keep that in mind. And also a reminder that in this election, you heard it said by some of the candidates, some of the decisions are going to be made in this election. They're not going to roll into the general election. They'll be made this month. Okay, 3 methods of voting. Early voting, these are the dates that we begin the early voting, and election day and vote by mail. Early voting this time, we have 2 new early voting locations. We have 11. In the past, we had 9 early voting locations, now we have 11. After redistricting, we have a team in our office, and their focus is precincts, redistricting, what do we need to do, where do we need new precincts, where do we need to change the boundaries to our precincts, and oh, for heaven's sake, do you know some of our polling locations won't let us come back? They won't let us use their locations for election day or early voting. They'll contact us or we'll contact them. We began this process a year out, finding the locations, asking permission, and building a relationship with the facilities where we offer polling. But some of them will say, no, I don't want you back. And it's hard to find a polling location. That's why you'll see we utilize government facilities, and we utilize a lot of churches. So we appreciate y'all for letting us come in, and that was just, Pastor Kirk just said, if you ever need to use our facility, let me know. That means a lot to us. So we begin this process a year out. Now the 2 new early voting locations, how many have voted early? It's pretty fun. How many have voted at Orange Blossom? I apologize for those campaigners. We call it the gauntlet. We gotta run the gauntlet to get into some of these polling locations where the campaigners are so eager and they want to get in your face and they want to hand you stuff, right? Candidates, be kind. We tell candidates, you make people mad when you do that. They don't want to vote for you. They may have decided to vote for you, but if you have a campaigner get in their face, they may not vote for you. So that's just part of the process. And you know what my job is tomorrow? I give them until about noon. We open at 10, I give them until about noon, and then I get in my car, and I drive to early voting locations. And my goal is to just help everybody be as nice as they can be and campaign as hard as they can. But I like to go in and thank our election workers, but I have to walk through the gauntlet to get there. And a lot of people don't know who I am, of course. And they're like, here, will you vote for my candidate? And I just smile and say thank you, and I gather their stuff, and I walk on in, you know. But if there seems to be an issue, every polling location has staffing. The clerk is the boss. How many have been a clerk? You know how that's a responsible position. They're the boss. And then we have inspectors, we have ballot specialists, and we have a deputy. Every polling location has a deputy. Who's been a deputy? Nobody in here right now has been a deputy. But we have both men and women, and literally the sheriff's office sends somebody off and they override our office to when we do deputy training, and they deputize our deputies. Now they don't have arresting power, but they're deputized, and their job is to keep calmness at the polling location, keep law and order at the polling location. And they're the smiling face that wears the orange vest, and they say, "Will you please get your ID out and be ready to vote? Thank you very much." And they may open the door for you. It depends on where they are. But they're the ones that also are in charge of the 150 foot. You know what that is? What is that, candidates? That's, you cannot campaign within 150 feet of the entrance to a polling location. We have a diagram of every polling location, and that shows the deputy where to set those orange cones, because he has to keep those energized campaigners outside that 150 feet. When I started in 2000, it was 50 feet. Then it was 100. Now it's 150. You know, I live on Marco, and I go over to Marco Island early voting location. They've got them across the, now the cones are across the street in empty lots. You push them back. And that's to help the voters not have to go through that campaigning document. But anyway, we have the two new locations for early voting. The two newest ones are the library, South Library on Laley Cultural Boulevard off 951 in the south end. And then we had, anybody heard of Heritage Bay? Yeah. Heritage Bay is the new government center. We've had Orange Blossom for years that the county commission built. And now we have a new similar facility called Heritage Bay. And it's beautiful. And it's on 951 north of the Monkley Road. It's way, way up north. So we're going to have early voting up there. If you live up there off of Monkley Road anywhere, you can go to that location. Of course, election day, we're open 7 to 7. Those of you who are election workers know that that's a long day. We then, I think I skipped the slide. So this is information about vote by mail. How many vote by mail? Thank you. When we receive your ballot, we have a high-speed mail sorter which captures an image of your signature. I'm going to show you a very short video in just a few minutes, so I won't cover all of this. But the first thing that happens is we have two buildings at our facility. One's administration, the other one is operations center. And at the end of the operations center, there's a door. It looks like a garage door. And the United States Post Office, and we have a great relationship with them. They come there every morning, knock on that door, and our staff opens the door, and they start unloading white mail trays of your ballots. And so that is the first step in the process. We have a high-speed mail sorter. Some of you have probably been on the transparency tours we do. You've seen this operate. It's pretty fast. And so it sorts, and what it does when it sorts your envelope, it takes an image of your signature on the back. And after all the trays are sorted, the operator puts those ballots back in those trays, locks the door, and we have staff that go to their computers and they compare the signatures. So they're looking, we have a software that brings the image that was just taken on the back of your envelope, and the software also brings up your signature of record. And their job is to compare that image that was just taken to your signature of record. And if they match, they press one key. If they don't match, they press the other. And then the operator takes all those trays, takes maybe an hour and a half where all the signatures should be trained. And oh, by the way, all of us that compare signatures have been trained. That's mandated, and we have been trained this year. And so all the envelopes run back through that sorter, and those that had questionable signatures are outsourced. And there's a whole other process that we'll talk about as it relates to those that are outsourced. But then everything's back in the tray. We sort everything down to the district number. Remember, we got 5 county commissions, 5 school board districts. What district do you live in? 3. I bet your precinct begins with a 3. That's our numbering sequence. And we sort these envelopes into trays by school board, county commission, district. Every live ballot that comes into our office is maintained in a cage with a special lock on it. And only specific staff members have access to those cages and have the keys to the locks. And you'll see this if you come over and go through a tour with us sometime after the election process. So that's part of the process with the vote by mail ballots. There is a cure process. What that means is, if you forget to sign the back of that envelope, or if your signature is one of those that doesn't match exactly, we immediately get in touch with you. Wow. If we have your email or your phone number, we'll reach out to you that way, same day. Or within 24 hours, we will mail you a letter. And we'll tell you that you need to complete an affidavit, which is in the envelope along with a letter of instruction, and take a picture of your ID, send it back to us, and you can cure that signature that doesn't match or the fact that you failed to sign the envelope. And you have until 5 o'clock on Thursday after election day to cure your mail ballot. There's no reason not to do that. You can always update your signature too. You can call us or email us or come into the office to look at your signature. And we even will tell people sometimes as we age or we have an accident or we have an illness, we cannot sign anymore. So our